What is going on, everybody? PintSizeAnalyze here, and in today's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about the Seattle Mariners' recent performance, recent team overall performance, the recent dismissal of offensive coordinator, essentially an additional hitting coach, Brant Brown, and my take on the situation. And then I'm also going to be going through a list of 7 players. Yeah, 7 players I have here that the Mariners could potentially make a trade for both at the deadline or before the deadline, maybe sooner. With some of these other guys, some of the guys on the list, they could maybe swing a trade before the deadline, but some of those other guys, the teams may be wanting to wait until the deadline premium to part with those players. But let's start overall with the team performance recently. So the Mariners, since this last episode, or the last episode of the PintSizeAnalyze podcast, they won the Sunday game on, that would have been Sunday, the 26th. They won against the Washington Nationals by a score of, I believe it ended up being a blowout, or kind of 9-5, yes. And then they came back to Seattle on Monday, beat the Houston Astros by a score of 3-2, beat the Houston Astros on Tuesday by a score of 4-2, on Wednesday again by a score of 2-1. And then on Thursday, unfortunately, losing by a score of 4-0. So they took 3 of 4 from that series from Houston, and then they won on Friday against the Angels by a score of 5-4. They had a 4-0 lead, ended up blowing it on a Joe Adele grand slam. Yesterday was 9-0. Mariners won in a blowout, largest margin of victory this season. And then today, the Mariners won 6-5, or 5-1. I mean, not 6-5, 5-1. They almost had a shutout. Seattle starting pitchers did not give up a single run in 19 innings over the series to the Angels. On Friday, it was Miller who went 6 scoreless, or not Miller, Wu who went 6 scoreless on 66 pitches before being removed. Yesterday was Bryce Miller, and then today was Luis Castillo. Let's go to that Wu start really quick. That would have been Friday the 31st. Just because I want to talk about that. Now, Brian Wu was removed after 6 innings pitched and 66 pitches. It was a very, very big topic of controversy, but he was basically dominant again. If we go to the player breakdowns, also the Mariners got to Jose Soriano, who was like the best starter that they saw from the Angels this weekend. Well, they made Griffin Canning look like the best one, but I think most people would agree that Jose Soriano is probably the best of the 3 between Canning, Detmers, who ended up getting optioned to AAA yesterday after getting blown up by the Mariners. He got optioned to AAA Salt Lake, and then Canning today. So Wu threw 60% four-seamers, 25% sinkers, and then barely dipped into the secondaries. Slider, changeup, only throwing them a combined 10 times out of 66. But the fastball got 4 whiffs on it. It's only at 17% whiff rate, but it also got 5 called strikes. The sinker got 1 whiff, but it also got 6 called strikes. And then the slider only got one called strike on any of the secondaries. But yeah, he was just dominant. If we go to the average exit velocity, though, had an average exit velocity of 90.7 against. Was limiting the hard contact. And yeah, he just looked generally good. Yesterday, Miller kind of labored a bit, especially in some of the middle innings. He even said like he lost his fastball command in like the second, or no, it was the third inning, and then got it back. He said it fell out of his pocket. But yeah, if we go to the player breakdown for that. I skipped over it. All right, there we go. So we got 21 swings, 7 whiffs, though, 33% whiff rate. On the sinker, also got 2 whiffs. He actually got 6 called strikes with the sinker, though, which is interesting. Threw the sweeper 10 times, slider 9 times, splitter 9 times. So yeah, more evenly distributed amongst the secondaries, and throwing them 33 or almost 33% of the time, 34% of the time. Cole Tucker threw an ephus. Okay. Yeah, also the Mariners had a position player pitch against them. Cole Tucker, who was a Mariner for spring training before being offered a coaching job, and then the Mariners, turned it down, and then now is playing for the Angels. But yeah, Voth pitches scoreless inning, Bauman, and then Kirby Snead. If we go to today's game, kind of interesting. Mariners had just a one nothing lead after, I believe it was 8 innings, or no, after 7.5 innings. Yeah, after 7.5 innings, they had a 1-0 lead on a Luke Raley home run. Luke Raley went deep yesterday, and then he had a home run robbed from him on Friday, so he almost went deep every game of the series, but he's continued hitting well. I'll go to his page, his Fangraphs page really quick. And then I'm going to transition into the offense and give my take about the whole Brant Brown situation. But yeah, the team's definitely been performing well recently. 6-1 over the last 7 games, or 6-1 homestand actually. 7-1 over the last 8 games. Won 3 in a row. Like, they're playing well. 110 WRC plus, though I don't think that includes today's home run. Let's see. Up to 121 after the home run. Okay, yeah. Still goes to show kind of how much of a small sample it is when one home run affects his WRC plus by 11 whole points. But yeah, if we go to overall numbers, though, batting 265, 315 on base, 441 slug. So the slugging has really come on recently. Now at 6 total home runs on the year. 5 stolen bases also. He just had that 1 hit. Also got an RBI, though, later in the game. Interesting that his XFOR was still only 283. I feel like it's obviously going to improve today, but yeah, the underlying metrics are still really not been in favor of what Raley's done. But yeah, I'm just hoping that the Mariners are kind of able to ride his hot bat for a while if, regression is imminent, which it might be. We'll see. Let's check his Savant page in general, though. So yeah, he's almost, below 50th percentile in almost everything besides bat speed. Defense, though, he's been playing well defensively. We're doing, OAA is not great, but arm value and arm strength. Sprint speed, obviously, almost 90th percentile. But yeah, let's go to Brant Brown. So the Mariners, let me get these facts straight real quick. But the Mariners, we know they were striking out way too much. That was a goal of this year to reduce it. They were getting not good results from hitters. Just a lot of stuff was going wrong. And so Brant Brown, who the Mariners hired over the offseason as an offensive coordinator, his goal was, aside from Jarrett DeHart, who's the other hitting coach, who is more of the mechanic, swing identifier of issues in swings or that kind of thing, holes in swings. Brant Brown was for the approach. He was, brought in to help the team with the approach and, get them, or give them the right information going into the game. Unfortunately, that kind of hasn't happened this year for the Mariners, whether it's Brant Brown's fault or not. We're not sure, but in the 3 games since his firing or dismissal, the Mariners they had 8 strikeouts on Friday, so well below the team average before. And then yesterday, they had 19 strikeouts, okay? So 19 strikeouts total, but then come on. And then 8 today. Okay, so that would be 27 strikeouts over a 3-game series. That's like a lot more manageable. It was 56, I believe, over the 3-game series against Houston. So, wait, I just realized I'm looking at team pitching. Okay, so I was wrong. Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, 7 strikeouts today. Yesterday was 14. Okay. Wait, did they strike out 3 times or 7 times all 3 games? 7, okay. Today it was 7, okay. And then Friday it was 7, okay. Yeah, so they struck out 21 times over 3 games, 7 times per game. That's way more manageable. How many? I'm not sure. But yeah, I believe they struck out 56 times over 4 games against Houston, and they won 3 of 4 games somehow. But that's just was like, unacceptable. So unfortunately, the time for the change of personnel came. Brant Brown unfortunately dismissed. The Mariners said that Tommy Joseph and Jared DeHart, Tommy Joseph is another one of the hitting coaches, would just be in expanded roles, taking over for what Brant Brown was doing. I will say, though, I just want to, give my take. It is interesting. I believe Ryan Divish said this was his first time seeing the Mariners fire or make a midseason hitting coach change since 2015, when it was Howard Johnson who was fired, and then Edgar Martinez was brought in. And we also know that it's been widely publicized that it's the last year of service in Depoto's contract. And so I think that definitely could be influencing their firing of Brant Brown. They basically need to make the playoffs to keep their jobs and to get a contract extension. So yeah, it makes sense from that lens. But it also, is like, were they maybe trying to find a scapegoat? I don't know. That's what a lot of people were saying. Do they really think a change was necessary and a change was going to be helpful? Maybe, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, if there's genuine change coming, I mean, obviously it's a good thing if there's genuine change coming, but, was it a bad thing if they didn't recognize that? But, I mean, Brant Brown has also had success last year with Miami and with Dodgers and Dodgers hitters, so he had a legitimate track record. And, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out with the club. Everybody, all the players and stuff were mentioning his professionalism and that kind of thing, so I don't doubt that, he was a good guy to have around. It's just, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out. So next, and I'm sure Brant Brown has a wealth of hitting knowledge and a wealth of, major league batting knowledge, and, in the right scenario, he could probably do well, and I think he did that before. It's just Seattle, unfortunately, wasn't that place. So that's my take on the Brant Brown dismissal. And then now I want to get into some potential trade targets, because everybody loves to talk about trades. Everybody loves the idea of the Mariners getting better. And it is now June 2nd. So let's get into talking about some potential trade targets. I have a list of 7 players. So the first 3 it's a group of like position players from the Tigers. So we'll start with Matt Vierling. And this is kind of the order. Well, no, actually, I don't. I'm not going to say the order that I want these players. We'll just go one by one. I think all 3 would improve the Mariners, and all 3 would, hurt the Mariners in different ways. All 3 have their strengths and weaknesses. So let's start with Matt Vierling. Okay, so Vierling was a 3rd round or 5th round pick by the Phillies in 2018. He is 27 years old, under club control until 2028. If we go to his minor league career, he basically raked throughout the minors. Struggled in Philly in AA in 2021, but then he was good at the MLB level in 2021, and then 2022 was good in AAA, bad at MLB. Last year, bad at AAA, but kind of better at MLB. 99 WRC plus isn't great, but, probably playing for the first time every day at the MLB level, and, 1.7 F4, that's sustainable. Now, this year, he's really, really turned it on. And also, I would like to mention, he also got kind of hot last year. There's an Athletics fan who I follow on Twitter, and he just kind of like randomly tweeted out one time, like, I want to send a random player, like, we should send a random player to the All-Star game. Matt Vierling was that player, and then Matt Vierling started going off, and that was last year. He ended up having, I think, a season-ending injury, or one that kept him out for a few months, and he didn't end up making the All-Star team. But he's playing like an All-Star this year, and he actually started hitting home runs. So let's go to the monthly splits. I believe he got better as the year went on. Come on, why won't this just... I just want 2023. Okay, here we go. So, March 105, May 54, yeah, really rough, and then June 200, July 82, August 51, 38, September. So yeah, kind of a streaky player. had some really good months, had some really, really bad months. September and October kind of stick out. Let's see plate appearances by month. So yeah, actually, I think it was June when like he was really, really doing well. And he hit 383 that month somehow. But yeah, so this year though he's gotten off to a great start. And one thing I really, really like about Vierling is there's positional versatility, like legit personal positional versatility. He's played 25 games at third, 19 games in center field, 9 games in right field, 4 games in left field, and then 3 games at DH. So he could play. I'm sure he could also probably play first base, but he can play first and third, and then he can play any of the outfield spots, kind of like Chris Bryant. He's also a right-handed hitter. I'm not sure. 6'3", 205, so not like exactly like Chris Bryant size, but like a bigger, legit utility player, like super util. 132 WRC plus in the year, and then if we go to splits, it's taking a minute. I know I checked before, but he actually has reverse splits. I think it's like a 143 against righties, 133 against, or 113 against lefties. Yeah, so 143 WRC plus against righties, and then 113 WRC plus against lefties. So he actually has reverse splits, but he's still like more than serviceable against lefties. 23% K percentage against righties, 18% against lefties. He does not strike out a lot. Also doesn't walk a lot, I'll be honest, but he hits the ball hard. Or has damage, does damage. This is his Savant page. I was just looking at it. Only 54th percentile in xWOBA, but 80th percentile in expected batting average, 65th in expected slug, average exit velocity, 90th percentile, 46th in bat speed, but 58th in barrel percentage, and then 75th in hard hit percentage. Squares the ball up often, does not chase, doesn't whiff. He does actually doesn't really strike out a lot, and then he also doesn't walk either. But yeah, and like that 22% strikeout rate on the Mariners, seems amazing, even though it's only 44th percentile. If we go to general, let's see his run values. I'm curious. So he does not actually do well against four-seamers. He doesn't really hit well against four-seamers, but he hits sliders pretty well, and then also curveballs. So yeah, kind of good on breaking balls. Wow, +5 or +5 round value on curveballs. He absolutely crushes them. Also, now that is a little bit worrisome. He has a 348 WOBA against fastballs and 259 xWOBA, so like there could be some regression coming there against fastballs, but yeah. He also pulls the ball like frequently. All of his home runs are to the pull side, so he pulls fly balls. That's great. If we go to, and then the next player I was looking at was Kerry Carpenter. Now, Kerry Carpenter is again another young Tigers outfielder. Again, under club control for a very long time. It's not loading. Come on. I'm just going to do this. Okay, so he's currently on the 10-day IL. He was just put on the 10-day IL. But he's 6'2", 220. He is like basically strictly he's played right field, but he's kind of more of a DH, not very good defensively. But he's hit all the way through 153 WRC plus in the year, 283 slug, 342 on base, 572 slugging. So yeah, he's absolutely crushed the ball this year. 150 WRC plus, 380 xWOBA to prove it. He also hit well last year, 120 WRC plus last year. And he hit well in 2022, so he's got kind of a track record of hitting at least above average at the major league level. He is absolutely a platoon, though. If we go to splits, and he is a strong side platoon. But he, yeah, like essentially unusable against lefties. He only has 18 plate appearances against lefties this year, 6.63 average, negative 48 WRC plus against lefties. So yeah, kind of unplayable. It's also a small sample size, but yeah, and then a 177 WRC plus against righties. So he crushes the ball against righties, like just rakes against righties. He will provide a legitimate offensive impact. 180 OPS against lefties, 1,000 against righties. Just to put it in perspective, like just how much better he's been against righties, almost 10 times, or yeah, almost 10 times better. If we go to his Savant page, though, it's not very great defense, and he's likely a DH. He also is under club control until, again, for it's a while. Under club control till 2029, so even a year longer than Vierling. Because Vierling's under club control until 2028, yeah. So, but both these guys are under club control for a while. Oh no, not that. Okay, here we go. Kerry Carpenter. So let's go to a Savant. 90th percentile in xWOBA. That's not surprising though. 66 in expected batting average. 96 in expected slug. 16th or 16.5 barrel percentage. So barrels the ball up a lot. Let's see, 47th percentile OAA. Actually, kind of not super fast, but above league average a little. Chases a good amount, whiffs a good amount, strikes out a good amount. Actually, doesn't strike out that much, walks not that much. But yeah, hits the ball hard, squares it up often. Doesn't have insane bat speed, but yeah, he's a masher. And he also has oppo power. Like this, this just caught my eye. This had to be like 420 oppo, right? 430 oppo. That's crazy. Let's just see it. I hope that wasn't really loud. Dude's got legit power. That's impressive. But yeah, he's got legit power. Already has 3 triples too. That's kind of crazy. And they were all to center. But I guess that's playing in Comerica. Probably all 3 of those were Comerica. If we go to, and also there's a triple right there. But next, let's go to Mark Canha. So Canha is more of a veteran. He's kind of been not floated around, but like people have been wanting Mark Canha as a Mariner for years. A lot of people were interested in him last year at the trade deadline. He was a New York Met. I misspelled his name. Oh no, I didn't. Come on, please load. So yeah, Canha is a free agent next year, although he does have a club option. That's one thing to note. He's on a 3-year, $36 million deal. This is the third and final season, although he has that club option for next year. He is... he's played 21 games at DH. He's played left and right, and then he's played first base this year. So he's another one who could, theoretically play more. Not as athletic as Matt Vierling, though, and he's older. He's 35 this year, but he's got a 120 WRC plus, 247 batting average, 358 on base, 401 slug. Walks 12% of the time, only strikes out 22% of the time. He also doesn't really have platoon splits, I don't think. Kind of varies from year to year for Canha, but we'll see. So far this year, wow, he does not have platoon splits. He's actually crushing lefties and doing great against righties. So yeah, 133 against lefties, 116 against righties. So yeah, he could play every day. I don't know if he's been playing every day for the Tigers. Let me see. Let's see about. One thing that is nice is that there are also options to get him in the lineup. There's 4 different places, left, right, first, and DH where he could play, similar to Vierling. Although Vierling can play on the infield, and that's additional value, or third base. But already 0.9 F4. Oh, how many? So yeah, 215. Okay, yeah. So he's been basically playing every day for the Tigers. He let's go to his Savant page. Okay, so 44th percentile in xWOBA, 25th and 22nd in XBA and X Slug, only 55th percentile in average X velocity. Wow, 7th percentile in bat speed. It's probably because he's partially getting older. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was better when he was younger. Doesn't barrel the ball often a lot, hard hit. So yeah, a lot of these peripherals are not looking great. Doesn't chase a lot and doesn't whiff. Or doesn't whiff a ton. And he also doesn't strike out a whole lot generally. He does walk a lot though. But yeah, a lot of these like batted ball peripherals are not looking great. Plus one OAA, that's interesting. 42% hard to hit. What's that percentile? 60-30. Yes, that's okay. And yeah, I mean, there definitely is value. And Canna, let's check last year. So last year, yeah, like about the same batted ball data. Let's see the year before, and he's like roughly the same. So I'm not really concerned by these peripherals, to be completely honest. I think that he's probably going to be like an above league average hitter, even with all of these peripherals, because he's been doing it for a few years now with roughly the same. And obviously, also there's gradual decline, and he'll get older and lose bat speed. But yeah, and he would only be under, and it's a club option next year anyways. I believe at $8 million. Oh, so wait, the club option was for this year. Okay, so is a free agent next year. Okay, so so he would be strictly a rental. Okay, I'm starting to like this. He would be strictly a rental, no club option next year. I mean, honestly, I almost feel like it might be the reason why I wouldn't maybe take the club option is just because you're like trading for additional value in the club option, which I don't know they would actually want to pick up. So it might be better to just trade for a true rental. But like Vierling and Carpenter, those guys could be potential future like cornerstones. Next, so Lucas Ursig and Mason Miller. Of the A's, so Mason Miller has been like the best reliever this year, just dominant. He had a negative FIP up until the other day. He gave up a home run, but dude has been electric for the A's. He also will be under club control until like at least 2030, I think, or at least 2029. His Savant is going to be all red. Yep. Okay. Does walk a little bit, but also doesn't strike out people. Yeah, he's a dude. He'll be a great closer, but he would cost like legitimately 3 of our top 100 prospects. Lucas Ursig, he's next. He is also very good. Former position player, prospect for the Brewers. That's what he was drafted as. Former second rounder. Oh, no, he was just placed on the IL. Okay, that's unfortunate with the forearm strain, but striking out 31% of the batters he's faced, 2.86 ERA, 3.2 FIP, 3.02 xERA, 2.88 xFIP. Yeah, dude's been dominant as well. 98 average fastball. Does walk a fair amount, but yeah, he'd be great as well. And then next, so Colin Holderman of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He has been kind of pitching in leverage situations for them since last year, I believe, and he's good. I think he's maybe due for a little bit of regression, but I like the peripherals. He's a free agent. He's not a free agent until 2029, so he would also be a long-term asset. And let's see. So 0.98 ERA, 2.5 xERA, 2.8 FIP, 3.41 xFIP. So yeah, peripherals support that. Let's see. 33% K percentage, that's great. 11% walk percentage, not great, but he's a reliever. 22% K minus walk rate, that's great. He's also pitched in AAA, although I don't know if that was just like a rehab stint. That was only 3.2 innings. I would hope so.
Are you kidding? That's good.
That's stupid ad. Okay, I'm sorry about that. That's really annoying. I did not mean to do that. Okay, next though, The final player. Okay, Tommy Pham. So people have wanted Tommy Pham. Some people wanted Tommy Pham last year. He's doing about the same thing he did last year. Last year he had like a 110 WRC plus against righties and 110 against lefties, or vice versa, and he's basically doing the exact same thing again this year. He has like a 744 OPS. We'll see. He's playing every day. He also still has like really high quality peripherals. So yeah, let's go to my man Tommy Pham. He also got in kind of a confrontation today and said there's a reason he fights in the offseason, but that's all of that. And actually, I guess it might be worth it to address the character concerns with Tommy Pham. I'll say I don't know if they're actually, I believe they're kind of overblown. And like Paul Sewald, former Mariner who knew Tommy Pham, he said that Tommy Pham is one of the hardest working guys he's ever like been with in an MLB clubhouse, and he doesn't need every guy in the clubhouse to be his best friend. He just needs everybody to work their hardest, and I feel like that's kind of, Tommy Pham. He may not be your best friend, but he's gonna absolutely, put in the necessary work and, try and help the team win. He's got a 113 WRC plus, 287 batting average, 333 on base, 411 slug. He can play. Wow, he's played center field. Now the White Sox are terrible, but he's played center field, right field, left field, and DH'd. He's on his prorated salary, like of by the time the Mariners would trade for him at the deadline, he'd be making like league minimum. He walked more last year, not walking as much this year, but still not striking out a whole lot. And yeah, I think there's a lot to like. He'd be a rental, and yeah, he seems to like he would help the Mariners. But yeah, that's about it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm excited that the Mariners went 6-1. Over the homestand, 7-1 recently. They've just been playing better. They're banking wins, and they're in a position where they're going to be able to hopefully go out and buy and, get better as a team when the trade deadline comes in, maybe before. I would love a reliever sooner than them. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at PintSizeAnalyze, and that'll be it for today's episode. Peace.